And he's got, so imagine he's got a situation that is not a one off, not a one time. He's got a situation that's been going on and it's been repeated. He has no control over the situation. Subconsciously, I got to create a circumstance where I ain't in that situation. Imagine now he's got some fuel. He knows when he gets in those quiet moments, man, it's 50 Cent. Live free or die trying. Imagine what the thought in Sean's mind if he says, man, I go through the school thing and I don't get out and do what I said I'm going to do. I'm already under pressure back at the house. When I initially get out of here, that's the first place I'm going. Nah, I ain't got time to be listening to them talk to me about what's going on. Now I gotta get into this. I gotta lean in, even if it's unconscious. Billy, he has something driving what he's doing. Question to you: what's driving what you're doing? And if you observe the action that you take, would you say something's driving you? Understand, you have to have a complete paradigm shift. See, the no sense of urgency, the I'm kind of casual, you want to do this or not do it. That's working because you don't have anything driving what you're doing. But that's the same casualness that caused you to miss the first significant opportunity that you had. Your whole life would be different right now. Your whole life would be different right now, Billy. And like I said, see, it doesn't matter when the opportunity comes and goes. You cry about it, you feel sad about it, whatever. No, doesn't matter at all. All you know is it happened. All I'm telling you is that ain't gonna keep happening. At least it won't happen with me watching up close. You could still experience it. I don't know if I ever considered failing at what I did, but like I said, my trauma was different at your age. And my trauma created my persona, right? We go back to the mood, the temperament, and the persona or personality, the personal reality. How I got to be who I was at your age was all based on that. Once my mother showed me she could kick me out, I can't trust anybody. I cannot rely on anybody. If the very person who I'm living in the house with, and it didn't even cross my mind whether she loved me or not. But if I'm here and I'm doing what I should be doing, I may not be doing more than I should be doing, but I'm definitely doing at least what I should be doing. And I get kicked out. Okay, yeah, I can't trust anybody. So how that matured for me is that I can trust everybody. But the moment I see that you're on a certain path, I'm walking away. I'm gonna let you walk that path. That's the cost for me trusting you. Like I said, shouldn't have to tell you that if you're changing the plan midstream, you better talk to somebody about it, especially anybody else who's affected by it. Because like I said, as I said this morning, you don't talk to somebody about that and you're working at a company, working for somebody, you get fired, period. They ain't going to explain nothing to you. And in the scenario that I talked about, asset protection and the security guy, they said these gentlemen are going to walk you to the door. And you say, but what about my briefcase or whatever you bring your stuff to work in? They said, you don't have to worry about that, Billy. We're going to mail that to you. Why do you think I can describe that situation in such vivid detail, Billy? Because it happened to me. That's not saw it happen. I experienced it. And oh, by the way, when I experienced it, Billy, I was the top performer. That's how I know it can happen to anybody, especially somebody who ain't performing the way they should.
Yes, you too.
You just gonna catch it. That's all. And then it's gonna be over. When they walked me out, told me they'd mail me my stuff. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And the asset protection guy, former military, as you might imagine, at that young age that I had, here's what I know. Whatever you're thinking in your head, stop it. I ain't that dude. I ain't threatening him. I ain't doing none of that. But I'm sitting there thinking, this dude, and he was a brother. I get in my car, and you know the story. He follows me home. He follows me from Schaumburg down to Lyle. He follows me 20, 30 minutes in traffic to get to the house. I get to the house, pull into the driveway, hit the button, garage door opens. I put the car in the garage, walk back out of the garage. He gets out of his car like he's getting ready to do something, and I don't mean do something like fight, because he ain't got nothing coming there, brother.
All right.
I'd have left it, like I said, even thinking about it today, I'd have put it on that dude, or at least tried to. Maybe, who knows? Maybe he would put it on me. I doubt it. But I ended up walking to the door, and he was right behind me, like we're going into the same house, and he's getting ready to sit down on the couch and shit. And I stopped at the door, and I turn around. What are you doing? Oh, I got to come in there and get your laptop. I said, don't walk across this barrier. I said, I'll get the laptop and I'll bring it to you. And when I finished talking, Billy, I stopped talking, and I'm looking him in his eyes, just to convey what his brain may not have picked up from hearing me audibly. He kind of steps back a little bit, shook my head, walked in, closed the door. Your mother asked me, who was that? What's going on? I said, I'll tell you in a second. I go upstairs, get the laptop, bring it back downstairs, open the door. He's still standing there looking like sad sack. I hand him the laptop. And I just thought to myself, this is what the world does. They send a fake goon following you home, right? The black guy, not the black guy and the black girl. They send somebody who looked like me because somehow that's the intimidation factor. No, I'm black. Did you forget? And I'm a special kind of black. I ain't the black that you see. I ain't the Bell's Curve black. There's a certain belief I got about what I do. There's a belief I have about what my mental state is. A certain belief that I have about my capability. And all of that will be brought to bear in every situation. And as what's his name used to sing, and here I am bringing in a musical reference versus a movie reference. Stay off my back, or I will attack, and you don't want that. Now imagine all of what I just said wrapped up into a look on my face. And I'm not talking about that look like I'm mean mugging you, like, man, if you do something, I'm gonna do something. Nah, it ain't none of that, brother. It's the calm energy. Because my brain has already sorted out, all right, if this goes down, here's what we got to get done. Now all I got to do is see if the person's over there, because we're playing poker, right?
Right.
They've got their cards. We've got the full things all the way through the river. The last card, everything's showing. Now I'm going to see, as they say, did he flinch? Oh, he did. That's very good. Not very good because I wanted him to flinch. Very good because he's now made it clear he don't want none of this. So I can give him what he had, his laptop, let him be on his way. Like I said, man, what you see and what you hear, what you're hearing now, I have been this. I was this before I got to be your age. But it's the trauma that put me there. You've had your piece of trauma. But you also have had my compassion and wisdom to temper the trauma. Right? I go back to the anger. I was never angry as a child, Billy. I was never angry as a teen. Definitely not angry as an adult. Although most people wouldn't necessarily, they would tend to categorize my intensity at times to be, he must be angry. Nah, man, I ain't angry. I'm trying to get the story across. I'm trying to tell you how to be in a way that benefits you, or at least suggest to you how to be. Because I can't just put it in your head and all of a sudden, boom, wake up tomorrow, I'm a different person. I can't do that. It ain't gonna happen. You couldn't do it. And again, like I said, these conversations we have with the exception of the intensity for today, are conversations we've always had. Hence why I said, like this morning, what you did this morning is the very reason I can leave people where they are. Because people are people. I'm who I am. You are who you are. And if who you are is an indication that, my future is kind of okay, I can kind of slow walk it. You've heard me talk about slow walking me, but I'm slow walking intentionally. I'm making a decision to not do something and do something to help somebody when I'm in the middle of helping myself. Because the belief was always, I'm going to get to the goal. That's the mindset. That's what you see in Olivia. It don't even matter. I'm going to get the work in because I'm getting to the goal. And while that trait sounds admirable, it was not self-serving. And there's nothing wrong with self-serving traits. You've got everything else. Like I said, Billy, you're on the potential side of things. Meaning everybody who knows you knows the capability. They just don't see the capability. Because the actions seem to be inconsistent. When I tell you, if you call me up and I'm talking to you and I happen to hear in your conversation why I didn't eat. Brother, when I don't have money, I send it to you. It's a decision that I make in the moment. But understand what goes on behind the scenes in that decision. What do I have here to eat when Daniel comes over? That comes into play. Do I have enough to make sure that for the next week he's good with whatever we got going on? Because if the answer to that was no, it just wouldn't happen. When I send something, like as my habit has been, when I give somebody something, the last person to be considered is me. And it probably sounds inconsistent with me saying I'm my highest priority. I ain't dying because I miss a meal or 2 or 3 or not eat for a week. I ain't going nowhere, man. But all of that is considered. Because because I know what my survival capability is. So that's off to the side. We already got that taken care of. Okay, next, what's the next priority? The big man. Eating for the week because he's here. Or until it's not even until I can get money. You know how that is. If I don't have it, I can get something. Always. But that ain't the plan. The plan is to be able to be able to manage the money, the little bit of money that I do get, so that things here can go smoothly. But once I understand that Daniel is good food-wise, and it's not like Daniel won't be in a situation where he can't eat, because he can always go to his mother's house. Even though Susan, depending on how she's buying groceries or whatever, she may have groceries, she may not. But he's not. Right. There's no time that he will go without a meal. But what I'm saying is, I weigh everything when I make every decision that I make. It all gets reweighed again. Okay, here it is. Boom. Okay, yeah, we can do it. And I send you what I can send you. $10, $30, $50, whatever it might be. The question becomes, when you receive it, you say, thanks, Dad. I do say, cool, hey, man. Again, the reality is, if I didn't have it, you wouldn't have it. But you're welcome. Hopefully I've at least gotten past that point of my past. Well, listen, you don't need to thank me. You've got to, whether you got to get into meditations, and I mean the reading, you got to figure out what's going on with you, because something's going on. You don't think you want to be coddled and handheld and all that kind of stuff, but the actions appear to be different. See, now you're getting down to subconsciously what exactly is going on. What is going on at your base? Because imagine, as much as Todd, doing what he does, he's talking to me about. Understand, he ain't forcing me to do what it is that he knows that he believes that I'm sure he knows it can be done. Something that even for me, I know it potentially can be done. The thing I have to weigh is if I go down that path, am I going to stay on the path? Because I know that the monetary draw, that ain't enough to keep me on the path. And the moment that the other things that I'm doing that have a higher resonance with who I am, the legal stuff for your mother, whatever help I'm doing with other people, if you don't hit me on that end, and meaning the idea, whatever the proposed thing is, if it doesn't catch me with that energy, I already know I ain't gonna do it. I can start it out, it's gonna fizzle out. As much as these other things might help, but I have to know about that, and so do you. So anyway, I saw that to go back to your whole lead in when you called me and you give me this talk about, I know, I read it and I kind of think, I say, yeah, I'm kind of going that way. And then I say, Billy, I've already made my decision. I'm in the program already. You say, oh yeah, I'm in it too. Yeah, you got to reverse what you talk about. See, had you called me up and said, hey, Dad, just so you know, what happened this morning, whatever, I'm sorry about not doing the call because I'd have said something to that too. Okay, Dad, cool. So I just want to let you know I did read it and I elected to get in, and I'll talk to you later. That's a different kind of energy. This whole let me explain to you what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. No, man, I don't care why you're doing what you're doing. Whatever the result is what I'm going to find. You take the action. What's the result? And like I said, you took that action. That thing better get to the front end of your day, man. This is not to say that you can't do the other stuff after 6 or 7 or whatever in the evening. But what you're doing in the evening is just extra on top of the extra. That's all. That's the difference.
Right.
Last night, to tell you I was beat up from that workout. Wake up this morning, get into the meditation, I am exhausted. Make it through the meditation, get into the day, you and me in the morning, understand, you're taken away from my energy when you do that stuff. I get back into what I'm doing, making sure subconsciously keeping how I feel about what's going on out of the purview of the mind. So I ain't thinking about it. I start doing some stuff, update my journal, write some stuff in there, wrote in there about this. Get into the day at some point in time, figure out, okay, is Daniel coming home today for lunch? Is he coming home early? Is he coming home late? Meaning does he have early day or late day? But this year, every Wednesday, they get out early. They get out at 12. His lunch period is around 12:30. But he only has half an hour or so he's got to be headed back to school by 1 o'clock. I figure out what he needs to eat, go and do what I do, get back here, put some hot dogs on some chips. That's all I gave him. And he ends up coming home, and I talk to him sitting there about what happened. And I'm letting him know, just like I let you know, the stuff that I tell you, Billy, I'm telling you this so you understand. Ain't nothing perfect about me. I'm telling you this because I can tell anybody what I tell you. But I don't tell everybody what I tell you. Because everybody else, like I said, it's just information for them. Relative to the context of what we're talking about. But I'm telling you that there ain't too much difference between me and you, but for the trauma. The trauma is the difference. So what you got to say about this, sir?
After we what's it called? After we got off the call, you saying what you were saying, like I felt some type of way about it, but more importantly, my own like thoughts of my own actions was something I was also hyper focused on. Not to say like what I heard from you didn't matter at all, right? Or like didn't carry any value, which it does, of course. But even I was like, Billy, what are you doing right now? You know? And as soon as you got off the call, I grabbed a pen and I started just like writing down a couple thoughts, right? And then I started going into my plans. So like one of the things like I wrote down was like, you know, first of all, I wrote down why didn't I wake up from the alarms that I set, because I set like 5 alarms, so I make sure I wake up. And then I crossed it out because it doesn't matter actually. But the reason I also ended up not waking up is also on me, right? The accountability that the reason that I did not make it to that call was purely on me. And then the next thing I had to get into was what am I actually going to do about it, right? And not only that, but in terms of the change that I have to make for myself, right? I put down. I said, why is this change necessary, right? Or why do I deem this change to be necessary, right?
Right.
And the first thing I said was, because my habit is the reason that I got fired, right? But I'm like, that's not the reason. But I said, more importantly, I don't like where I'm at. And I'm the only one that could stop it. And that's why the change is necessary, right? And then from there, and then that's where I got to, what am I going to do about it, right?
Right.
And I was thinking about not only what we've talked about, but even some things that Talk was speaking about, right? And I thought of like, what if I treated this like a workout, right? So like the reason why I work out in the mornings, right, Dad?
Yeah.
Because I don't like working out later in the day. When it comes to stuff that I want to get done, I like to get all that stuff done as soon as possible. I want to have my day, right? So I'm like, okay. What if I applied that to what I'm doing, right? And so, you know, like when we work out, we always have that little the pre-workout,
right?
With the run, right? And
right.
The pull-ups, and then the push-up pyramid, and the core workout, all that, right?
Right.
So it's all good. You know, I'm like, what if I just break this down into workout days, right? So my pre-workout for each day is the foundations, right? No matter what day, the foundations will always be applied before anything else. And each workout day, right? Because of course, when we do workout days, we target certain areas of the body, right?
Right.
So I said, okay. So the pre-workout is my foundations, but the workout is going to consist of 4 body parts. That's what I call it. 4 body parts or 4 paths / topics. Each workout, though, I'm just calling these workouts, but I'm guessing you're keeping up with the theme, right?
Yeah, you're kind of a metaphor for the work. I'm going to couch my description in terms of a workout, which is fine.
Yeah.
Because this is just the mental side of what we did physically, or what you do physically.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm with it.
Absolutely. So I'm okay. Every workout day, I'm going to work on 4 body parts or 4 topics. Each will get a 1 hour workout at least, right? So the least is an hour for each. Let's say on a specific day, I maybe want to go more into one topic than the others, or maybe all of them if I'm really feeling it that day. That's what it is. But the least is an hour for each part.
Okay.
But I asked myself, I was like, okay, how often would the workouts happen, right? And what I thought about was wrestling, right? I was like, how often did I actually have wrestling practice? And wrestling practice was usually 5 days out of the week, right?
Yeah.
But if I really wanted to get better, right? If I really wanted to be something, right? Then those practices that would happen on the weekends, right? The Saturday and Sunday, those would happen too, right?
Right.
And then I also was thinking like, okay, well, as well as like wrestling practice was usually like 2 hours, right? And so this is going to be a consistency of 4, right? So okay, between 5 to 6 days a week, maybe even 7. But I haven't, in terms of I haven't made the full decision on that just yet, right? And then I thought about, then I got into another section I called, what am I replacing, right?
Right.
And I did not only just write down what I'm replacing, but I write down the why, because that's important. So the first thing I wrote down there was the game, right? Oh, and I was like, why am I replacing the game? Because the game's always going to be there. You know. Next thing I had, what's it called? Not to say that I'm just gonna completely stop talking to people, right?
Right.
But in terms of the level of socializing that I'm at, that also has to be replaced. Why? And you even said it yourself, right? My skills, when it comes to socializing, right, they don't need to be practiced necessarily in that manner to continue developing them, right?
Right.
The level of development that they are now, that's not helping me. Another thing that I wrote down for replacement, right, was just giving away my time, right, just in general, especially not thinking about it, right? And I said that just needs to stop, period. That's the why for that, right? When it comes to when I go to the gym, like I said, I usually like to go to the gym in the morning, but the gym can happen at any time of the day, right? So I can just do that later. So I'm replacing that as well. And of course, when it comes to sleep, I know I can operate off less. So I had what am I replacing section right there. And I also had a section called the lab, right?
Okay.
And this would be periods of time where I'll just allow myself to get confused, but to do something, right?
Right.
And because if I allow myself to go in, just dive in and just get confused, right? That's when most of my learning is going to probably happen. So I called that the lab. And so far, so far for the plan that I got on how I'm going to be developing my habits or how I'm going to be pushing myself forward. These are some things that these are things I'm bringing together for a set plan, right?
Right.
Now, like I said, when we talked in the morning, like I can't say I didn't feel some type of way about it, because I most definitely did. But the main thing on my mind was, like I said, it was disappointment. Because I'm like, Billy, what are we doing? You know? And like I said, I don't like where I'm at. I really don't. But it's like saying that doesn't even mean nothing, right?
Correct.
Which is why I just immediately I just started writing, you know, and taking thought, right? This is not me just like, oh, I'm just writing down anything just to be writing, or just writing about how I feel or nothing like that. And everything that I wrote down it had nothing to do with how I felt necessarily in the moment, but me thinking, right? My thought. What else? Let me see. And then it was crazy because like while I was writing some of this stuff down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the stuff that I was for the plan or execution, like my mind almost went to like, Billy, how's it supposed to get done? And I had to remind myself, like, bro, how I do this does not matter.